Just rode, just met, just remembered. Part 1. The Road. You never know which night will stay with you for a long time. Sometimes it all begins with a simple decision. Just to ride. No map, no destination, no expectations. Just the road, the wind in your ears, and the feeling that something ahead is already waiting to change the rhythm of your life. This part of Asia smells like fried rice, gasoline, and the sea. The air is thick, humid, almost drinkable. I ride along a road that runs by the coast, the sun already sinking behind a line of palms. Neon signs reflect in my mirror, and the world feels slightly unreal, like a dream you don't want to wake up from. I don't know where I'm going. Sometimes you just want to move, not towards something, but away from something. From routine, from your old self, from those who no longer ask questions. On the road, it's easier to be quiet, easier to be yourself. Among foreign cities, languages, and faces, you suddenly feel calmer, as if no one expects anything and you can simply exist. A small bar flashes on the roadside. From inside comes a hum, laughter, bass, clinking bottles. I ride past, then at some point I stop. Not because I'm thirsty, but because there's a strange feeling inside. Like I should stop here. For no reason, just because. Maybe intuition, maybe fatigue. I park, take off my helmet, hear a wave crash somewhere. The air smells of salt and freedom. Everything around trembles slightly from heat and neon. I catch myself thinking that I love this place not because it's beautiful, but because no one knows who you are. You don't have to explain where you came from, what you do, or what you'll do tomorrow. Inside, the bar is dimly lit. Photos on the walls are faded with time. Behind the counter, a guy of about 20 nods, pouring a drink without asking. The music is soft but has a rhythm that matches the beat of your heart. I sit in the corner and feel the noise of the road slowly fade inside me. Traveling has a meditative quality. When you ride for hours, your thoughts line up on their own. What once seemed important becomes trivial. What you didn't notice before suddenly becomes obvious. Simple things. The taste of cold beer, the smell of the sea, the glow of a streetlight take on meaning. I watch people. Some laugh, some argue, some stare at their phones as if answers could be pulled out from there, and I just listen. To the music, to the street noise, to myself, and somewhere inside, I feel a calm rarely found in daily life. Sometimes life doesn't ask for action. Sometimes it simply says, stop, take a sip, look around, and don't try to understand why you're here. Part 2. The night in Asia falls fast, like someone flicks a switch. 1 second there's light, heat, and movement. The next, everything sinks into soft twilight lit by neon. The bar feels louder, even though the music is the same. In darkness, sounds feel closer, like under your skin. I watch the street. People pass by, some laughing, some smoking, some dragging a drunk but happy friend. In this chaos, life feels raw, honest, unfiltered, and somehow I feel that here, everything is real. Here, nobody plays a role. People just live as they know how. I take a second drink. It burns my throat slightly, but pleasantly. Alcohol here isn't to forget, but to quiet the noise inside, to let thoughts flow slowly, like through fog. Sometimes, at moments like this, the brain speaks truths you hide from in daylight. I think about how often we run. From places, people, ourselves, we make excuses, plans, routes. In reality, we're just searching for a moment when we can breathe and feel weightless, when we can become no one. Here I am, no one. Just a person sitting in a bar somewhere between the sea and the highway, and somehow there's peace in that. Outside, a bike hums past again. Its sound lingers as if carrying part of the night away. I think it's strange how sound can leave a trace in silence, like us, just echoes, traces of other people's stories. Eventually, fatigue leaves, replaced by a strange mix of lightness and sadness when everything is okay, but there's a hollow inside, missing someone you can't even name. Maybe this is freedom. When you need nothing, yet still expect something. I look at my hands, salt on my skin from road and sea, fingers slightly trembling, not from alcohol, but from being alive, and suddenly I realize I've had hundreds, maybe thousands of nights like this, and not one repeated. You can't enter the same night twice. Even if the place is the same, even if the people are the same, you are different. Music changes, as if someone carefully chose the track to match the mood. Slow, with a rhythm of the road, a hint of rain's echo. I close my eyes and just listen. The world hums, laughs, runs somewhere, and I'm here in this moment that may never come again. Sometimes the most important things happen when you expect nothing, just sitting, just breathing, just staring into the night. Then you realize this is what was real. Part 3. The road to the sea. I step out of the bar. The air is thick, warm, smelling of salt and fried spices. Somewhere an air conditioner hums, somewhere a door slams, someone laughs, someone argues. The city doesn't sleep, but it's not fully awake either. It just lives its nightlife, without asking why or for what. I walk along the street, beneath my feet, uneven asphalt, puddles from the evening rain, patches of sand brought from the beach. Neon lights reflect in the puddles, and it feels like I'm walking across someone else's dreams. With every step it gets quieter inside me. The bar's music fades, replaced by the sound of the sea, distant but steady, like the breathing of something eternal. This is probably what I've been looking for all along. Not peace, not happiness, not meaning, just the moment when everything aligns. When there's no need to rush or prove anything. A scooter passes by, a boy and a girl. She holds onto him, laughing, the wind playing with her hair. I catch myself thinking that I once rode like that too, without a plan, without a destination, just letting the road decide. The sea is closer, its scent grows stronger, salt, seaweed, the metallic smell of night docks. I walk on a wooden pier, hearing it creak under my feet. The moon hangs low, huge, yellow, as if closer than usual. On the horizon, ships, their lights blink lazily, as if someone beyond the water is awake too, just watching the sky. I sit down on the sand. It's still warm, though the night is late. The sea is dark, but alive. Each wave retreats with a soft rustle, as if whispering in its own language. And I understand, here it is, the perfect moment. No words, no company, no explanations. Sometimes, when you've been riding alone for a long time, noise accumulates inside. Thoughts, fears, faces, regrets, all blending into a sticky mass. Only the sea can wash it away. You sit, stare into darkness, and with each wave, feel something leaving you. Maybe fatigue, maybe something you should have let go of long ago. I take out my phone, no signal, and suddenly it doesn't feel like a problem, but a gift. The world seems to say, stop being online, be here. I smile. Sometimes solitude isn't a punishment. Sometimes it's freedom, just a little quieter than usual. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a new city, maybe a new person, or maybe just the road and the wind. But right now, silence, sand, sea, and me. And it feels enough. Part 4. Morning. When it got easier, I woke up to the light. I didn't even realize how long I had slept, an hour, maybe two. The sky was grey-pink, the sea like a mirror, and everything around felt a little different. Not better, not worse, just new. The air was warm and humid, as if someone had just wiped the sky with a cloth, leaving traces of light. I sat on the sand, watching the first person on the beach launch a drone. The sound of its propellers oddly blended with the waves, as if modernity was trying to negotiate with nature, and somehow it worked. The sun rose slowly. An orange strip grew along the horizon, spreading, turning into the morning heat, and I thought how quickly everything changes. Last night the city felt foreign, now it felt familiar, as if it had accepted me. An elderly man passed by with a thermos and a cigarette. He smiled at me, the kind of smile that doesn't ask questions. I nodded back, and in that brief moment I felt a strange kinship. Two people on the shore, each in their own past, yet sharing the same morning calm in their eyes. I got up, shook sand off my jeans, and walked along the shoreline. Footprints in the wet sand disappeared within seconds, and there was something right about that. We leave traces, but the sea does as it pleases. Maybe that's its wisdom. A melody quietly played in my head. Not a song, just the rhythm of the road, the sound of tires, snippets of conversations, the glow of shop windows, the smell of coffee, everything blended into a single line, as if life had stitched itself into a whole picture again. I didn't know where I would go next. Maybe north, where it's cooler and thinking is easier, or maybe inland, where roads vanish and time flows slower. But for the first time in a long time, I didn't need to know. It was enough just to move. Later, I sat in a nearby diner, ordering rice, eggs, and black coffee. The waitress brought everything silently, carefully placed it in front of me, and suddenly I felt it. The true moment. Not the ones with mountains, sunsets, or flashes of happiness, but this one, simple, quiet, human. I ate and thought that maybe all these travels aren't to find yourself. Maybe they're just to allow yourself to simply be, without expectations, plans, or other people's eyes. When I went outside, the sun had already become harsh and dusty. The streets buzzed, scooters roared, music played somewhere, life returned to its usual rhythm. But I walked through it a little lighter, as if my chest held more air. Probably all I needed then was a night by the sea, a couple of hours of sleep, and a morning where nobody expects anything. And maybe it's in such mornings that a person finally becomes themselves, without grand words, without heroism, just themselves. Part 5. A road without an address. The road began as always. Suddenly, you just get on a bus and everything, your world moves again. Outside the window, rice fields flash by, scattered palms, the smell of exhaust mixing with the scent of rain. And again, that feeling for which it all seems worth it. You owe nothing to anyone. I sat by the window, listening to the air conditioner crackle, the curtain sway. People slept, someone ate noodles from a plastic box, someone scrolled through their phone, someone simply stared into nothing. And all of it, like a background, calm, soft, letting you think. When you stare out the window for a long time, the road starts to feel like an inner screen. You see not landscapes, but your thoughts in motion. Past conversations, faces, smells, all that once seemed important now just becomes part of the backdrop. And it's not sadness, it's clarity. At some point, the bus stopped at a gas station. I got out, bought a bottle of water, and sat on the curb. The sky was low, dense, and the huge white sun hung above the horizon. The air trembled, and everything around seemed to melt. Cars, people, noise, and inside there was an amazing calm. I thought about home, not the apartment, not a place, but the feeling itself. When you wake up and know for sure you have nowhere to run. Maybe that's why I set off, to learn one day how to be at home anywhere. Then I got back on the bus. The scenery began to change. Green hills, old temples, small villages where children waved at passing cars. Every time the bus slowed down, I caught myself thinking, life here moves slower, but maybe more honestly. No one rushes to be someone. A couple laughed quietly in the back seat at something of their own, and I found myself smiling. Before, scenes like this used to bring a twinge of sadness, like you missed something. Now, the opposite. There's warmth in them. You're just happy that someone nearby is laughing, and you don't need to explain why. Hours stretched, but never wore me out. The road dissolved thoughts, leaving only rhythm. Tuk-tuk, wheels on a seam of asphalt. Tuk-tuk, like a heart, only calmer. When we entered the next town, the sun was already leaning toward sunset. Everything glowed with soft gold, rooftops, faces, shop windows. I got off, grabbed my backpack, and just walked, without caring about direction. The city greeted me with noise, the smell of spices, voices, and I realized this was what I had been missing, not a place, not a goal, but the movement between them. Part 6. Solitude. You can breathe. Night came suddenly, as if someone just switched off the lights and the city became soft, almost transparent. Streetlights reflected in puddles, outdoor cafes buzzed with voices, and I walked along the promenade unhurried. No meetings, no plans, just footsteps, air, and the rare glance of passers-by. I sat by the water, waves lazily hit the concrete, and somewhere in the distance, a red lighthouse light blinked. From this spot, the city looked different, as if you weren't living in it, but it was drifting past you. In moments like this, solitude stops feeling frightening. It becomes a silence where you can finally hear yourself. I used to fear these pauses, those evenings with no one to talk to, when no one writes. Now they feel calm. You just exist. No roles, no expectations. You don't owe anyone anything, not even yourself. I took a bottle of water and a chocolate bar from my backpack. A bachelor's dinner. The air smelled of salt and something fried from a nearby street stall. A bat flew overhead, a quick shadow, and everything quieted again. Sometimes it seems that life consists of these small, almost invisible moments, yet somehow they stay in memory the longest. I thought about friends, those I used to travel with, sleep in old houses, drink cheap beer on rooftops. Many now live different lives, family, work, responsibilities, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone chose their own rhythm, and I, apparently, am still searching for mine. Somewhere behind me, street music played. Someone sang on a guitar, quietly, hesitantly, but with heart. I didn't understand the words, but the melody hit just the right spot, where melancholy and calm merge into one. And I realized I was smiling, not from joy, but because I could finally just feel. A girl walked by with a dog. The lamplight slid across her face, and for a second I thought I knew her. Probably not. At night everyone seems familiar, a reflection of yourself maybe. She smiled. I nodded back, and that was enough. When the clock passed midnight, I got up and walked back. The city wasn't asleep yet. Somewhere laughter, somewhere arguments, somewhere just a shuffle of flip-flops on asphalt. All of it was so alive, so real. I felt I wasn't alone, just not in the way I used to think. Part 7. Morning. That smells of the road. I woke up early. The sun was just starting to peek through the blinds. The air was warm, slightly humid, smelling of the sea and fresh bread from a nearby bakery. I stepped outside barefoot just to feel the ground under my feet, the scent of morning coffee, dust, and something new, as if the day promised something important but hadn't revealed its hand yet. The city was still asleep. Only the occasional scooter passed through narrow streets, and an old man in a white shirt watered flowers outside a cafe. I bought coffee, sat at a table right on the sidewalk, and watched the world slowly wake up. Sometimes life doesn't demand heroics. Sometimes it's enough just to exist, breathe, and watch the light fall on the walls of houses. Across the street, a group of students laughed. Asians, one holding a camera, another eating ice cream for breakfast. One of them waved at me as if we'd known each other for years. I smiled back, maybe because there was something simple and real in that gesture, a reminder that the whole world is, in a way, your neighbor. I packed my backpack again. Everything in it felt lighter. Even things that once seemed essential and now felt unnecessary. Every new day on the road teaches you to let go of what's not needed, from your head, from your heart, from your bag, and suddenly you realize that freedom isn't the absence of obligations, it's the ability not to cling. I walked along the coastal road. The sea roared on my left, Houses with signs in different languages lined the right. One of them was a bar where live music had played all night. By day, it was quiet like a person after a good conversation. I sat by the wall, took out my notebook, and wrote a few lines. When it's all behind you, don't look for meaning, just keep walking. I don't know why I wrote it. It just felt right. Ahead lay the road, dusty, yellow, smelling of gasoline and salt. I caught an old bus. The driver nodded as if he'd been waiting for me. Inside, the radio played, someone singing about love, home, and how everything passes. I looked out the window, fields and fishing villages flashing by, and caught that strange feeling. You're not in a hurry anywhere, yet you know you're going exactly where you need to go. A woman nearby held a cage with a parrot on her lap. It was silent the whole ride, then suddenly said, "Let's go home." And everyone on the bus laughed. Me too, even though I didn't know where my home was now. Maybe it's on the road, maybe in the people I meet, or maybe inside myself, where it finally got quiet. Part 8. The return that doesn't exist. Sometimes I wonder, can you even return? Not to the place where you were, but to the state when everything was clear. Home, friends, familiar streets, they keep living while you're away. And when you come back, everything seems in place, but something doesn't fit. Like an old photograph where you recognize yourself but can't remember what you felt then. I remember my city, how morning bread smells, how trams ring on the corners, how the wind carries the river scent between houses. But even these sounds are different now because I'm no longer the person who left. The road changes not just your body, it slowly rebuilds your soul layer by layer. You learn to be silent when you used to speak, and to speak when you used to be silent. You learn to be alone and not count it as loneliness. I catch myself thinking that now I don't seek permanence. I prefer temporariness. It feels more honest. Coffee in a strange city, a stranger's smile, a quiet evening on a rooftop. It all lasts a moment, and that is its power. Permanence dulls, movement makes you feel. In a hostel in Hong Kong, I started talking to a guy from Europe. He asked where I was going next, and I couldn't answer. Not because I didn't know, but because for the first time I realized next doesn't matter. You can be on the road even if you stand still. The main thing is not to close the windows inside yourself. Sometimes at night I look at a map and mark the cities I've been to. Each date is a little story, a little me left behind, and somewhere in this chaos of roads there's no destination, only direction. Home is not a point on a map, but a moment when you finally feel that everything that happened was necessary. Maybe I'll return, or maybe not. But if one day someone asks where I've been all this time, I'll probably just smile and say, I was looking for the road back to myself. When I think of everything I've seen, I realize the road isn't remembered by its turns. It lives in the little things. The smell of cheap coffee at a gas station, the sound of an old fan in a hostel, the warm glance of a stranger asking for directions, even if they seem to know the way themselves, the sunlight hitting your eyes through morning haze, and you catch yourself smiling, simply because you're alive. Life on the road taught me to listen to silence. I used to fear stops, thinking that emptiness hides in stillness. Now I understand. It's in the silence that you can hear yourself. When there's no city noise, no strangers' voices, only your breath remains. And that's the most honest thing we have. I often remember Bangkok's night streets where the lights never go out. No one rushes home because everyone has their own road. I stood in the middle of a noisy intersection and suddenly realized all life is a flow. No need to fight it, no need to chase it, just be in it. Float, watch, remember. And if someone ever asks why all this, why leave, get lost, search, I probably can't answer directly. Maybe we simply don't know how to stay in one place. Maybe travel is a way to feel alive, to feel that something inside still moves, burns, searches, or maybe it's simpler. We walk to remember what it feels like to return, even if there's nowhere to return to. Either way, the road continues. Every sunrise, a new chapter, every evening, a quiet ending. And maybe someday I'll pack my backpack again, step into the night, breathe the cool air, and realize everything is just beginning.